How's it going, Clippers fans? Welcome to the day after Red Saturday, or whatever we want to call the Game 7 that the Clippers theoretically played in. I'm Chuck Mockler, joined by Adam Oz, and we're doing a little live hang decompression. We're going to do a full episode with the crew early next week. If you're listening to the pod and you'd like to hang out for some of these, check us out at youtube.com/@ClippersPodcast. Yeah, Adam, I woke up feeling pretty much the same level of anger, frustration, and sadness that I felt yesterday.
This is a good test for those who think like a win is a win or a loss is a loss. They aren't. It matters how you play. And the Clippers not showing up after the first quarter is really disappointing. I think we both were talking about how, oh no, they lost the non Jokic minutes to start the second quarter by 7. That was, to me, the beginning of the end and the big warning sign of this could get really out of hand. Even though Jokic and Jamal Murray weren't exactly great yesterday, and you still get blown out. How do you get blown out when those two had 15 in the first half? That's what's just baffling.
Yeah, there was just no. If you wanted to know what a team with what does fight look like or what does showing up kind of look like, it was the opposite of that from the Clippers. We got another no media performance from James Harden, which rubs me the wrong way.
Not a
Uh,
great look.
it's not a great look for a guy who did, and that's one of the things that makes this frustrating is he had a wonderful regular season in terms of the leadership stuff. He had a fantastic regular season with leadership, but the postseason hurts a little bit.
Yeah, I totally understand. You're really frustrated. You're a competitor, and you just don't want to talk to anybody after a game like that, or after the game they lost before that, or the game they lost before that. The last 3 games, I don't think he showed up for the post game presser, but
He did when they won.
he did when they won.
Let's level.
After losses, he did not
Yeah.
show up, and that's just not a great look. You got to be there, be accountable, and it's part of the deal. But I don't know. That was as miserable of a way as you could end the season, I think, for a season that was such an overall success. It's just leaving a sour taste in everyone's mouth. And this is what they're going to be remembering for a while, how it ended and not how it started. And the great game in game 82 to beat the Golden State
Golden State.
Warriors to stay
Yeah.
out of the play-in. There are just so many highs, but it ended on a deep, deep low, a nadir.
It was a valley. Yeah, last night was a valley. Kawhi, frustrating. We get the healthy run. We don't. We get one elite game, and again, also, absolute all the credit in the world to the Denver Nuggets. Hats off to them for an incredible series. Took 3 minutes to mention this, but fantastic. Aaron Gordon, probably the third best player in the series.
Maybe a higher.
Maybe
Like I
second.
don't. He might be the second. Like Jokic, it's hard because so much more is demanded of Jokic.
And he's
But
so important, and yeah.
yeah, Aaron Gordon doesn't get going if there isn't so much attention on Jokic. But Aaron Gordon was the most consistently impactful player in the series.
Yeah, Law Murray said something that I thought was interesting after the dunk, which I guess that's what we're calling it. I don't know what people are calling it, but we all know what I'm saying. Um,
The perfect air ball.
the perfect air ball made the non-Jokic, non-Murray Nuggets players all kind of, that was kind of a moment for them, and they were able to really rally around that. And we saw it in other games too, right? When extra things were happening, the Nuggets were able to fashion some momentum or something to hold on to from those moments. The Bogey Rust techs, obviously the dunk, the kerfluffle before we lost that game in heartbreaking fashion. Like they were very clearly a team that has played in the playoffs together. and all the credit to them because they looked. Clippers were the healthier roster.
Do you
But
feel like the Clippers lost this series more than Denver won it? How do you feel? It's hard to say that after what happened in Game 7.
right,
Going into Game 7, if you told me they lost a close Game 7, I'd be like, the
right.
Clippers blew this more than Denver, really took it from them. But
They did a lot to lose it. Like the Clippers did not help themselves. I think to say that they lost the series, I think they would have had to have done more to help themselves win, if that makes sense. But it felt like maybe not chasing as hard as they should have for Game 1. Some just we got the classic, and I love Ty Lue, but when it doesn't work, it doesn't look very pretty, which is the matchup hunting, and they went away from the pick and roll. There were just things where I don't know, man.
I don't think Game 7 was on Coach Lue, like really at
No,
all.
that the effort from everybody,
Kawhi called it out at postgame.
yeah, which is frustrating because you're like, great.
But I think it objectively was a bad series for Coach Lue. I think that's fair to say. Because when he has made mistakes before, ultimately it's still, well, he didn't have his best players. So how much can you really put on him? But this time, he had his best guys. I think he had more room for error than was actually out there in reality. Like I think he thought they had more of a margin for error against this Denver team than they did. I don't know if that's true, and I can't hear you now, Chuck. Can you hear me?
Sorry, I was muted because when I type, it gets really
I'm
loud.
only going off of the minutes from Game 1, not starting Batum till second half of Game 6. Like I'm going off of things where, to me, if you had more of a sense of urgency, that's the word I've been using throughout this entire series.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't guarantee anything, but I think it gives you a better chance.
Yeah, I like that. I like that idea that. I mean, we did have more room for error theoretically, but
See, but my point was coming into the series, close games with Denver, if you give them belief because of their championship DNA, they're going to take those close games. Like they're
yeah,
going to find a way to beat you, or just, if you give them life, and they did. Like they were better with all the intangibles,
100%.
and that's I think the Clippers, they let them up off the mat in some ways.
Yeah, and I like letting them have belief or light I love that metaphor because you look at things like obviously the perfect missed shot, but then Law Murray had some interesting stats. Both teams made exactly 288 field goals in this 7-game series. But to your point of the letting them have belief and light, Nuggets had 7 more offensive rebounds. That's those are belief and light providers, and they had they outscored the Clippers 110-87 on second chance points in a 7-game series.
No, the second chance points were the difference, and that's a lot of Aaron Gordon.
Yeah,
And that's a lot of will and want to and heart and toughness, and they had more of it.
Russ had himself a hell of a series. He earned every right to do what he did in Game 7.
He did.
Like, I've never seen the Russ roller coaster. It was straight up for there was one little dip for the Russ roller coaster, but it was straight up. And the Clippers had no consistency. We didn't know. One of the frustrating things about the playoffs and what makes the playoffs is we didn't know what version of the Clippers was going to show up, which was not something we really had to deal with in the regular season. They were a good team at showing up in the regular season. And then in the play, it kind of started to get a little shaky. And then we just didn't know who was going to be there. We didn't know if James was going to show up. We knew that in the regular season.
Yeah.
That James was going to show up.
We knew it could be inconsistent in the playoffs with James.
Absolutely. Yes. 100. I don't think, yeah, no one was fooled that we were going to get 7 elite games from James Harden. But
No, they reverted back to some old bad habits.
yeah.
First quarters, slow starts. They made that a big point of emphasis, and then they were better in game 6, and they were better in game 7 with faster starts, to be fair. Why did it take so long? I keep thinking this is like an overarching theme of this era where there is something to their biggest strength with all the comebacks leading to a weakness where you always think and you always wait to get down to really engage. And I think it's a really bad habit. And I've always felt like that.
Yeah. I mean, it is a common theme. It's, and I don't know what you do to fix it, if that makes sense. I know there's people saying, let's blow it up, which I don't know how that even works with a team that doesn't have a bunch of valuable pieces. Just right. Like, you can't, I don't know if blowing it up to me, yeah, anyway, I think it would go a lot worse than people think it would go.
Yeah, I mean, we can get into that conversation at some point, like what to do. I don't know if we're going that far down.
No, we'll talk about it next week, but I don't think they're blowing it up. People are pissed off at Ty Lue. Kind of rightfully so. It was a really frustrating series.
I didn't love hearing afterwards him say, I was thinking about OKC. Like they expected to win.
Yeah,
I
that
didn't. Did you interpret it as like they overlooked them?
I was trying because I really set that one stuck out to me too, and I was really trying to sit with it because when I first saw it, as Twitter's designed to make you do, I was a little upset by it.
I think he just meant like we didn't expect to lose this series. I don't think
Yeah,
it affected their game plan. Like they were holding something back for OKC, or they looked
totally.
past Denver. How could you once you get to a game 7?
Right. Yeah, and I don't think that. I think it's also just maybe more of a compliment to OKC in some weird way. Also, hello, Robert Flom. He said sometimes it's better when coaches don't have options. Hey, sometimes. Hey, Adelman
I
did
don't
that.
think David Adelman had to choose many different ways to go. It's just play your guys.
Yeah, 7 guys. No, not now, balloons. Yeah, I took it as like, yeah, I don't know. It was a weird thing to say. There was a lot of weird. What did he say after Game 5? We're good or something. He had
We're fine.
a Doc-esque quote.
I mean, you can take that both ways. It's like you're supposed to be confident. What do you
Totally.
expect him to say? Or like, why isn't he more upset? And to his credit, after game 7, yet somebody kept pressing him. He's like, you want to know how I really feel? I'm pissed.
Yeah, like
I think he's more fiery than people realize. He just doesn't air guys out ever at the
not to the
podium.
media, which is a good coach move. No one. I don't think anyone no one likes when a coach directly calls out a player after a game 7. We saw Doc do that to a guy who's on the Clippers now. And I can't imagine I can't imagine. I mean, I'm sure that plane ride was dead quiet except for Van Gundy at the beginning of it coming back.
Zubac's post game, did you hear him? He just kept saying like 3 different times. He said another first round loss, 3rd year in a row. He was down.
He's been there for all of it, man. He has, and he's grown. He also didn't touch the ball enough, I thought, yesterday on offense.
What else new?
Again, another frustrating thing where it's like we were built on this great pick and roll and this great defense, and then against a shorthanded, banged up Denver team, which all credit in the world, they played great basketball. The Clippers went away from the things that got them there. They didn't run what they brung, as they say.
I do think to an extent their zone negated the pick and roll some. And also, the Clippers got a lot of good shots out of it that they clanked.
Yeah, they missed.
I think Denver ended up shooting about 3% better from 3 in this series. It felt more significant than that, but 3% is not nothing in a series this close.
And I bet the blowout really alters that for the Clippers
Yeah, so the
for the
Clippers shot
series.
36%, they shot 39%.
And what did the Clippers shoot in game 4 or whatever game they blew them out?
Oh, the
Uh,
game 3? Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. Oh, I get what you're saying, yeah. Yeah, that they shot 46% in that one game, so
yeah,
you take that away, they're shooting like 31% in 6 games from 3.
yeah. Robert Flom, who was just in this chat, had a tweet earlier that was interesting. Funny is not the right word. He said Chris Dunn only made 4 fewer threes in the Nuggets series than Norm Powell, 5 fewer than Kawhi, and 6 fewer than Harden. The norm stats were rough. This was not what we needed from Norm Powell.
No, Norm had a bad series. He had a good game 6. He had a couple really good games, Norm games, but this wasn't enough. And we can do all the over analysis stuff, or you can just say they were much better from 3 in this series and they got more offensive rebounds, and that's it. Like, it's that simple. And the 3-point stuff, I don't think that's coaching. I don't think Coach Lou deserves criticism for that. I've criticized him for a lot of things. I don't think that's
Yeah,
the problem. Them laying down like they did in the third quarter, I don't think that's Coach Lou's problem from Game 7. Like, that's not on him. Um, but yeah, Norm wasn't good enough, unfortunately. Should he have gone away from him? I originally was like putting Batum for Norm to start. I said going into Game 5, I thought Batum. That's when I'm at that point to start Batum.
how did we feel about? We didn't even talk about this yet. How did we feel that it was Derek Jones?
I think that was actually a pretty good move. It's
I
like,
was like, oh no, I didn't think of that. Like,
yeah, the analytics had said for a while that Derek Jones should probably be starting, and it gave them like so. Batum is still that you still have one more move to make if that doesn't work with Batum coming on off the bench. I did like that,
yeah,
but if it was up to me, I would have started Batum earlier in the series. If you're worried about Batum's older and I don't know if that's going to work, now's the time to find out if it can work.
yeah, yeah. Because we found out a little late. We tried. Forgotten Law Cow said, "Where does Norman Powell stand in all this? Because we've only got him under contract for next year." I don't know when they have to get him. If they would, he's unrestricted after next year. So I don't know when they have to get it. They don't have to get the deal done. They're not really under any pressure to get it done super quickly, I don't think. I don't think he made himself any more money after this playoff series for
I
his
think
next
his stock's
contract.
still higher going into this offseason than the last offseason, though.
Oh, definitely. I mean, he showed he was great this year. He was what does he make actually? Because he doesn't make a crazy amount of money. It's like 19. 19. He's at 19 this year. He's right at 20 next year.
We'll be talking about it all summer. Norm, once again, is the most likely trade piece. It'll
Yeah,
another summer of that. We did the same thing last year, but this year, coming off the year he had, if you can get a first round pick, I would
totally.
I would entertain that. I love Norm.
Oh yeah, same here. Harden has the player option. We'll get into all that later this week. Yeah, I thought it was cool that the fans got to be out there. I wish they would have seen a better performance from the Clips. Shout out
Yeah,
Priam
but
saying he flew out with the swell. Awesome move by Balmer.
incredible move by Ballmer. That was so cool to see. That had me fired up. I was having FOMO. I was like, damn, I wish I was there now. Uh, I it's
They all
just
left after the third, which the camera pan to that was pretty funny. I do have to tip my hat to whoever was in the booth for that to say show the wall, and they were gone.
it's just so hard to work through a legitimately successful regular season, legitimately successful season that just happened to end in miserable fashion.
A whimpering fashion. It was terrible.
Just being uncompetitive like that in a game 7 for all the world to see, it's just very painful.
Yeah, it did not represent Clippers basketball well.
It didn't
If
represent who this team was throughout the majority of this season.
exactly, if you didn't watch this Clippers team at all, you would have watched that game 7, which I'm assuming most NBA fans maybe only watch the playoffs, whatever. You were probably so confused why it was at a game 7. Once the third quarter was over, you probably went, how did this get to 7 games?
Yeah.
Man.
Casuals were big confused.
Yeah. Man, the dunk was it, man. That was just, and
I
I know
mean,
that's not like that's not where the series was lost, but it was just like, oh, they have a moment now. They have a huge thing to rally around during a weird time. They have an interim coach. Like, you can't give the chaotic team, like you said, these moments of belief.
I think coming out flat in game 4 and putting yourself in a position where you got to come back like that for that moment to happen, to not have the right personnel out there to stop that, it's all bad. But I just
It's
sense
all
of
bad.
urgency. How does Kawhi play 6 less minutes in game 1 of a playoff game than he did in game 82 against Golden State in overtime? They both went to overtime. One game he played 6 less minutes. Maybe he was tired. It looked like it at times. I'm still probably pushing things to make sure I win that game 1 and set the tone. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree 100%. You and I talked about it. Was it after game 3? I think when we were like, why are they saying these quotes now of like getting locked in, or like why are they saying these quotes now of settling in? Like, why are you even? You shouldn't. You should maybe already be settled into the intensity you need for this playoff series. Again, we were the lower seed.
And they came in having to win a bunch of games. Shouldn't that intensity transfer and urgency transfer into a playoff series? They already were, for all intents and purposes, going through kind of a playoff gauntlet just to stay out of the play-in.
Yeah, maybe that gassed them. I forget. I did. I didn't forget that the Clippers' main guys were old, but I forgot maybe how much it would show after the crazy stretch to end the season.
I just kind of thought, okay, they just got 6 days off. I thought that was going to be enough. But
Yeah.
the truth is, this series does tell you the chances of them being able to survive, even if Kawhi stays healthy, but just being able to survive the attrition of going through the playoffs and being this old of a team is pretty unlikely. Like making a deep
Mhm.
run with a team this old is pretty unlikely.
Yeah.
Even if you stay healthy, you're still tired.
Yeah, even if you stay healthy, you're still tired. That I mean, yeah. We're going to take a quick audio break for the podcast people because we're going to put this out on audio. But we will be back to talk more about how we feel the day after Red Saturday. Ads coming up in 3, 2, 1. All
Welcome
right,
back in. Cliffs
we're
and Dip
back.
live. Sorry.
You're fine, man. We're
Old
like the
habits.
Clippers, old habits. Interesting point from Robert Flom. The game 4 comeback was probably the worst thing that could have happened. Got Ty Lue to lean into offensive first lineups. I think the blowout was the worst thing to happen. If I'm being not the Clippers blowout win. Obviously game 7 was a horrible thing to happen.
The
But
blowout may have confirmed to some that, oh, we are this much better in this team when we play the right way. Cool. How often are you going to play the right way?
yeah.
And Denver was they were missing and Clippers were hitting.
It was a throwaway game. It
I
was
said,
like,
yeah. I said afterwards, guys, as exciting as this is, when everybody was talking about, hey, how do we match up against OKC after they went up 2-1?
that was crazy.
I kept saying, as exciting as this is, They did just shoot 46% from three on high volume in this game. And maybe we're putting too much into that.
Yeah, it was it was just a game where it was like, okay, everything went right. Let's hope that happens again. Let's hope that like
I see you, Mark Jag. I know you were thinking about OKC already. Unfortunately, the Clippers played game 4 like they thought they were up 3-1.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like to me with the way they came out in game 4.
And we said, I think all of us kind of agreed that winning in 6 seemed more plausible than winning in 7.
That's why I picked them in 6, because I thought if they get to 7, they're probably not winning on the road.
Yeah. I didn't think they were going to win the game, but I will tell you what, I didn't think they were going to get taken to the woodshed.
I did mention in our last show it's going to go one of 3 ways. Clippers win, close. Denver wins close. Denver wins blowout. There's no Clippers win blowout option in game 7. Now, what I didn't know is Denver wins blowout while Jamal Murray and Jokic don't even do that much. That I did not see coming.
No, I thought it was going to be a playoff Murray, a playoff Jokic experience, right? Instead, we got playoff Gordon, who was better than any Clipper this series.
Elite role player. He was a star in this series.
Do you think that game 7 will get more people talking about Kobe Brown? He had 13 points in 8 minutes.
Was that someone in the chat saying that, Chuck, or are you asking me?
No, I was. Drew Eubanks got some time. Cam Christie with his first playoff buckets. That's good to see. Amir Coffey, DNP. I'm sure there were people furious by that.
It is interesting that he didn't even play in garbage time in this series.
That is odd. I will admit that. I understood maybe why he wasn't getting time, but none with the blowouts is interesting. Because what's the point? Like,
I don't think he's going to be on the Clippers next year. Gotta be honest.
Yeah, I think someone would. He should get whatever big deal he can get. And I don't think the Clippers can, but I don't think they will offer him. I think they'll be outbid.
I think this series kind of cemented it. He's not coming back.
Yeah. One of the longest tenured Clippers, but in a very weird way because he had so many two ways. Like,
I'm a fan.
Not contractually, but like all the two ways. Yeah, I don't know.
There's so much blame to go around. Like, I think it's fair to go after Coach Lue for this series. I think it's fair to go after a lot of different players in this series. I think Kawhi was their best player, and he still wasn't good enough. Like,
totally.
And you look at the numbers, and he averaged 25 points per game. He might have averaged the most points in the series, or at least close to it by any player. He shot 53% from the field, 39% from 3, 7 boards, 4 assists. The numbers are good. But I said this earlier, it just didn't feel like he had enough moments of taking control of the game outside of game 2.
And it didn't pass the eye test. It didn't look, you know what I mean? It didn't have that outside of game 2, obviously. He just looked his age. He looked like an older version of Kawhi Leonard, who's still very good, but he's not able to consistently be that playoff claw guy.
And that totally could be the case. It also could be he only got 37 games and he was kind of wavering about what his role was on this team at times. And if he made it pretty clear that it was his job to fit in around everybody else and not them fitting around him.
Yeah.
And like he had to take a back seat and he was okay with that. And he talked about how good they were the first half of the season. Was it also mental or is it physical? I wonder.
There were some fit issues when he came back too. Like Norm had to figure it out when Kawhi came back. Like that fit was a little wonky to start. yeah, it felt, I don't know. They went about the recovery so well. He came back. He looked, the trajectory was there. It was where we wanted it to be. And yeah, just didn't show up in game 7.
I thought Kawhi was decent. Like I saw enough plays to see that Kawhi was locked in game 7 and playing hard.
He cared.
He wasn't great, but
Yeah,
he cared. Like when they were down 20, Kawhi was still playing hard. Like Kawhi hit a 3-pointer to start the third quarter. They go to him right away. He hits the 3-pointer. You're down by 8.
right. It's right there.
You're fine. You're down by 8. Jokic and Murray aren't hot by any means. You're okay. And then they give up a 17-0 run, and it's over.
That run, man. And it was over. Like, it was fucking... It was over. Yeah, I mean, him and Zoo had some issues defensively last game. But, I mean, yeah, Kawhi was caring. I think Zoo cared. I think he was frustrated.
Yeah, I thought Zoo played hard.
Frustrated.
He didn't have a great game, but I thought he played hard.
Yeah. Norm was bad.
Norm was bad. Harden was bad.
The bogey fouls were crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, the refs were part of that. Is the other thing too.
It was the free throw, like 16-4 or 5 at the half.
Yeah, let me look. It was bad.
Not why they lost, but
16-7. Clippers actually made all 7. What was with the free throws too? That frustrated me. They missed 7 in game 7 too. That frustrated me all season. Just a weird thing to happen. A bad sign also.
What, missing free throws?
Clippers missing free throws in the playoffs. Yeah. It was weird.
It goes back game 1 against Phoenix. They missed some free throws at the end of that game that went into overtime, and then they lost.
Yeah. Man.
Bad omen.
Bad omen. Bad.
But a good year.
But a good year. Yeah. I mean, on the whole, the regular season was fantastic. It was one of the more fun regular seasons you can have as a Clippers fan.
We all said it. I kind of look at it like, I think Robert Flom's mentioned this recently too. You could just weigh how many good games and memorable moments you got during this season versus the bad moments that ruin your day. Like, there were by far way more good days. Way more good days. If you're somebody that just, measures happiness by a lot of people with their sports team, that's how it is.
This is not the right team for that. I would like to
14 straight winning seasons.
Yes. And another first round exit. Yeah, my Dolphins and my Clippers not looking too hot. All right. Do we have anything else we want to talk about that game? Should we mercifully end this? Shout out the fans. Intuit Dome showed the hell out for their first playoff series.
It did. This was the year of the Intuit Dome. I don't know if there's anything else to say about that game. It's just complete, not complete no-show because they did win the first quarter, but you expect better, more fight. You got to be tougher than that.
Yeah, you got to be. Hats off to the Nuggets. They were tougher. They had all, like you said, they had all the intangibles more. They were able to create momentum from moments, and the Clippers couldn't shoot.
Yeah, they drowned them in intangibles in this series.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. All right. Well, you know what this means for the new listeners, if you're new to the show, during the off season, we do dip recipes. So it's a silver lining.
I'm trying to diet. Speak for yourself.
Hey, you can make healthy dips. All right. That about wraps things up. We're going to be back next week with the full crew to talk how the regular season went as a whole, it was a good year, despite it feeling like you want to cut your own head off right now. It was a good year. Adam, do we have one
No.
positive thing
uh,
to send these Clippers fans out on? I understand if it's hard to find one, but I believe that you can do it.
Steve Ballmer is him.
There we go.
What he did to fly fans out like that, it's never happened before. I've never seen anything like that in sports history. That was an incredibly awesome gesture. And just that's what you want from ownership. That's it. That's what you got to hold on to and believe in. That's what matters most.
Yes, that and your own personal well-being not being connected to how the Clippers do in the playoffs. Regular season, you'll probably be great. Playoffs, maybe not. All right, we'll be back next week with y'all. Have a great week. Take some time to do some stuff for yourself. Love yourself a little bit more this week because of what happened. All right, we'll see y'all later.